The world's two most powerful men are preparing to meet as their nations continue to jostle for global dominance. The United States remains unparalleled as the world's superpower, but China is closing fast. Within a decade, it could surpass America as the biggest economy on the planet. China is building its military and making more aggressive noises in the Asia region. Barack Obama and Xi Jinping must carefully negotiate a relationship that at times verges on conflict but is equally bound by the need to cooperate. From territorial disputes, trade to cyber war, the talks this week could set the tone for the future of the most important relationship of the 21st century. Joining me to discuss this is Adam Lockyer from the US Studies Centre. When you look at this relationship, it does verge on from conflict to cooperation. Some people see, the worst case scenario, others see them being able to coexist. How do you see the two countries trying to navigate this rivalry?
Well, it's been fairly stable for over 40 years now. It's been one of the most enduring, stable relationships that we see the United States has with any country. But we do see sort of clouds on the horizon with China's rise and increasing areas of conflict over just economic policies between the two countries, but also security and also other issues that are going to arise out of China's rise.
Is there a feeling in the United States you can't trust China?
I guess that depends on what level you're dealing with. See, a lot of people on Main Street look to China and just see them stealing their jobs. They see that unemployment remains very high in Australia, in the United States, and they see the jobs being stolen, at least in their eyes, to China. So there's that hostility towards China on Main Street. Now that's being reflected in political circles. However, I think there's greater understanding in political circles than often meets the eye.
China is often a convenient whipping boy when you come to election time. For instance, the ads are rolled out about this China threat, but the reality is it's also a relationship of great interdependence, isn't it?
Oh, incredibly so. And so we see that right now the US economy is still quite fragile, but is starting to gain speed. And what it really needs now is an injection of capital into new entrepreneurial endeavours. And the country with the most cash there ready to inject into the United States is China. So there's this relationship which is going to be quite beneficial to both countries if they can get their act together.
The battleground, if in fact there is going to be one, would be in the Asia Pacific. Do you see the two interests there colliding? We know that the US has long alliances with countries like Japan, South Korea. We know that there is potential there for conflict, particularly in Japan and China. So how do you see the two countries being able to work together when you could be in such an area that is potentially an area of great conflict?
Yeah, so I mean the Japanese-Chinese relationship is one which often has a lot of friction there, but the United States is actually playing a big role behind the scenes, throwing a lot of cold water on that heated relationship. The United States doesn't want to see conflict with China. They see both huge potential and opportunities with China's rise, and that's what they want to pursue, though they are quite conscious of the fact that there could potentially be conflict over Taiwan, Korean Peninsula, Japan, you named a fair few.
You often hear this word containment thrown around, particularly when there was a lot of talk about the so-called pivot to Asia, the big foreign policy push by Barack Obama. Do you think that it is right for some in China to see the US policy in the region as trying to contain China's rise?
Well, I mean, the United States is often criticised as talking engagement while actually practicing containment. And China does have major concerns about sea access. So what it's trying to do is to be able to project power out into the neighbouring seas and to be able to keep the United States out. And it's developing its weapons platforms to be able to do this. New aircraft carrier, new missiles, which are supposedly these anti-carrier missiles, which are going to deny the United States access into the seas surrounding China. And this is just supposed to be able to give China some breathing space. Now, the United States sees that in many ways as being confrontational, that if it's not able to get access to these seas surrounding China, then its security interests in the region are going to be harmed by that. So the United States does have, and China does have many issues around this that could potentially be end in conflict, though I think that meetings like we're going to see over the weekend go a long way towards reducing those risks.
One of the other areas of conflict, and we're seeing this playing out now, is cyber espionage, and the United States this year has taken a previously unprecedented step of blaming China. The Pentagon has said China is directing these attacks against our military and our business and security interests. China sit back and said the US is also spying on them. How much of an issue is this going to be between the two countries?
It could potentially be a very big issue, and it's going to be on the agenda. There isn't an official agenda for this coming weekend, and that's at the point of this weekend, though they will be discussing the cyber attacks and cyber espionage, no doubt. And it's that sort of, it's a misunderstanding between the two different cultures that this weekend is supposed to start to iron out. And espionage is one of these. So the United States, no doubt, in anyone's mind, is practicing espionage, cyber espionage against China and other countries as well, but it's limiting to government-on-government attacks and spying, whereas the Chinese don't limit themselves to just government-on-government spying. They also are included in business and corporations, which in China's eyes,
China's eyes, a lot of business is part of government.
Exactly. The line between government and corporations and business is often blurred, and so in their mind they might not be doing anything wrong. You're doing that to us, we're doing it back to you, and the line is blurred. So it's about misunderstanding rather than anything else.
How important are the personal dynamics here? A new leader, Xi Jinping, a new generation of leadership indeed in China, and meeting Barack Obama, as you say, there's no formal agenda. They're looking at trying to have take the stuffiness out of these talks and have them a little bit less formal. How important is the personal relationships and the personalities involved in these big discussions between two powerhouses?
Well, it depends upon the personalities involved. So Xi Jinping was famous for always following the script, and Obama had over a dozen meetings with him, and he never broke script. Whereas Xi Jinping is famous for putting the script away and being more personable. And I think that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to exploit the fact, and by inviting him over and having a more informal two-day meeting, and hopefully have close relationships through a personal relationship, rather than necessarily trying to hammer out all the big issues in one go.
How important is it for Barack Obama as well? It's been said that one of the legacies he'll want to leave is the relationship with China on a good footing. How important is it for him in his second term to be able to say that?
So yeah, he wants to be known as the Pacific president, and one of the first Pacific presidents, which the other presidents are going to follow. And this relationship is going to be central to that. President Obama has a deep understanding of the region, but out of the region, China is one of his weaker points. He knows a bit more about Southeast Asia, in particular Indonesia. So he does have some way to go with China, but he does pay a lot of attention, and his national security team pays a lot of attention as well.
Thanks, Adam. Adam Lockyer there from the US Studies Centre joining us. We're going to go live now to Washington, D.C. with CNN.